You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WCFW Daily News Roundup for 105.7 CFW in Chippewa Falls and 93.5 The Tap in Eau Claire.
For WCFW News, I'm James Kelly. Congressman Derek Van Orden hosted a virtual town hall on Wednesday amid criticisms over his perceived lack of availability to constituents. Congressman Van Orden began by repeating claims that George Soros-funded agitators have been disrupting in-person town halls across the country. He shared updates on the budget proposals in Congress and said he's been pushing back on some spending cut efforts by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. He closed the town hall by answering a handful of pre-submitted questions from attendees. The former owner of Dana's Bar and Grill in Eau Claire has officially been charged with arson in relation to the August 2021 fire that destroyed it. 71-year-old Jeffrey Root is facing charges of arson of a building with intent to defraud. According to court documents, officials estimated that the fire caused around $350,000 of damage. Fire crews on the scene had reported that the building smelled like gasoline. Root is also accused of removing cash, poker machines, and a jukebox from the building before the fire. Dozens of Eau Claire area residents gathered for a protest outside the federal courthouse on Barstow Street on Wednesday night. The protest, organized by the Eau Claire County Democratic Party, sought to demand more accountability and change from lawmakers in Washington, D.C. Some attendees at the protest carried signs calling on lawmakers to protect Social Security and Medicare and push back on Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. The Eau Claire County Democratic Party says they plan to organize protests every Wednesday. On Wednesday night, Judge Susan Crawford and Judge Brad Schimmel faced off in their only scheduled debate ahead of the critical Wisconsin Supreme Court election. Debate topics ranged from abortion rights to election laws to the amount of money put into the race on both sides, as the candidates sought to clarify their own positions while raising concerns about their opponent. The result of the April 1st election will have a significant impact on Wisconsinites, determining whether the state's highest court will remain in liberal control or return to conservative control. Republican state lawmakers have proposed ending daylight savings time in the state. State Representative Nate Gustafson and State Senator Rachel Cabral Guevara introduced the legislation, saying the disruptive transition can lead to increased risks and negatively affect mental health and productivity. They also noted the negative effect the time change has on young children who have their usual routines upended. Only 2 other states don't recognize daylight saving time, but a number of others have considered similar legislation. Wisconsin Senators Tammy Baldwin and Ron Johnson have introduced bipartisan legislation to improve roadway safety for cyclists and pedestrians. The bill, named after a Wisconsin resident who was killed while riding her bicycle in 2022, seeks to expand federal funding opportunities for smaller local governments to improve safety. The bill would focus on communities with populations of under 5,000 people, authorizing them to use federal funds from the Highway Safety Improvement Programs to cover local cost share requirements. The Chippewa County Board voted 16-4 to approve the appointment of Andrew Alvarado as the new county administrator on Tuesday night. Alvarado will officially begin his employment with the county on April 28th following the full board approval, and his term will end in August of 2027. He has served in his current role as the Sawyer County Administrator since 2022 and previously served as the Rusk County Administrative Coordinator. Alvarado will be taking over for the retiring County Administrator Randy Scholes. Oakleaf Clinics has announced plans to open a new primary care clinic in Rice Lake this summer. According to organization officials, the new clinic will include urgent care services and open on the south side of the city sometime in May or June. The facility on Wisconsin Avenue used to be an eye care clinic, which Oakleaf Medical Network is in the process of renovating. Officials say community members have been calling for increased health care options, a common plea in the Chippewa Valley following the HSHS and Prevea closures last year. The Wisconsin Assembly Government Operations Accountability and Transparency Committee held its first public meeting on Tuesday. The state-level replication of Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency used the hearing to question government leaders over telework policies, use of workspace, and cybersecurity. A number of state officials speaking during the hearing praised the availability of remote work, saying the flexibility has helped agencies attract competitive applicants. Critics questioned the productivity of remote workers. Attorney General Josh Kaul has announced the new director of the Wisconsin Department of Justice Division of Criminal Investigations. In a press release on Tuesday, Attorney General Kaul announced that Jake Jansky will lead the department. Jansky has over 10 years of experience with the agency, which he joined as a special agent with the Internet Crimes Against Children Unit in 2013. He later oversaw a number of offices as a director, including the ICAC and Human Trafficking Bureau and the Native American Drug and Gang Initiative. For WCFW News, I'm James Kelly.
Packer players moving on. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with Sports NFL Free Agency. 2 Packer players have signed with other teams. Center Josh Myers, a 1-year contract with the Jets. Running back A.J. Dillon joins the Eagles, also a 1-year deal. Men's college basketball, the Badgers taking on Northwestern today in the Big Ten tournament. Marquette against Xavier in the Big East tourney. In Madison, Sarah Williams says she's entering a transfer portal after 3 years on the Wisconsin women's basketball team. NBA Bucks basketball tonight. They host the LA Lakers. And Shaquille O'Neal had this to say about former Bucks player and business mentor Junior Bridgman, who died on Tuesday.
Yeah, this one really hit hard for me. They always tell us stories about how 75% of athletes 0 to 5 years after they're done playing go broke. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but I've patterned my whole business acumen after Junior Bridgman. This one hurts a lot.
That's Shaquille O'Neal with Sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. All right. Matthew McConaughey is back after a 6-year hiatus. The star of Dazed and Confused and True Detective returns to the big screen in The Rivals of Amzia King. During his hiatus, McConaughey wrote a book, spent time with his family, and stayed fresh by doing voice work in films like Sing 2. McConaughey's memoir, Green Lights, is now available. Will the new Jurassic Park be rated R? As a fan of dinosaurs and thrillers, I really hoped so, but seriously doubt it. Fans are speculating based on the new trailer and how dark it seems, and the fact that the franchise introduces a new, especially scary monster called the D-Rex. Social media users seemed excited at the idea of an R-rated, truly freaky Jurassic Park. Unfortunately, according to the experts, studios will most likely not want to give up those under-17 profits. Eric Stonestreet is expanding his acting talents. The hilarious and Emmy-winning Stonestreet, who played Cam on Modern Family for 9 seasons, has agreed to a role on Dexter. Stonestreet will play Dexter's estranged brother, who he was separated from at a young age. You can catch Eric Stonestreet on Dexter Sunday nights on Showtime. Hate speech and toxic social media users had to take a powder this past Monday when Twitter, also referred to as X, experienced outages, leaving anonymous users and bots with nowhere to spew their disinformation. Angry young men who hide behind avatars and fake screen IDs probably experienced calm for the first time in the last few years. Better a Twitter malfunction than a Cybertruck. Dolly Parton told Oprah Winfrey that she thought she would be a great mother. Parton elaborated, saying she and her recently deceased husband, Carl Thomas Dean, ultimately decided not to have kids because Parton wanted the freedom to pursue her career and be a mother to all children. That is so Dolly Parton. Parton said at one point they even had a name picked out if they had a girl, but decided against it. I'm guessing it was Dolly Jr.? Billy Joel is putting his health before his tour. The 75-year-old music icon has wisely chosen to postpone working the road so he can rehab after a recent medical procedure. Joel's camp says he will take 4 months away from performing to get his health back. Joel expects to make a full recovery and will resume his tour in Pittsburgh on July 5th of this year. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
We are tracking a powerful spring storm system that could bring some thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening, rain through Saturday, with rain changing to snow late Saturday night into Sunday. It's going to be windy with the system, too. Otherwise, today, partly cloudy, 64. Tomorrow, our high in the low to mid-70s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Currently, it's 28.
That's your WCFW and the TAP Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WCFW.FM or thetap.fm. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.